sun shining today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out.
So we're doing a yard tour about 1 year later. Dominic keeps telling me that not enough has changed, so I would like you to go back. I'm gonna link the original yard tour video down in the description if you haven't watched it. Go ahead and watch it, come back and watch this video, and I would like you to leave a comment on whether or not you think that anything has changed on the homestead.
Or you could support me and say, no, I shouldn't have done the video.
Alright, well let us know.
No. Whoa, look at the pigs.
Look at those pigs.
We're going to start at the front corner of the front yard. And just to show you where the cutoff for the pigs is now, so when we go in around later you'll be able to see how much space they have. So we got the white post going through there, that's where the cutoff is. You can probably see through the trees the car that I still haven't removed. If anyone's looking for a slightly used 69 Nova, let me know.
Yeah, it's got a few trees growing through it.
One thing I regret is I cleared out a lot of stuff here because I thought I was going to come over there with the fence, but I decided to have the fence in here a bit more. So I cleared out a lot of stuff that was in there, including a little pine tree that I didn't see until I had already cut him. I just bought my new spacing saw, so I was just, you know, getting a little excited with it maybe. So I wish I had to leave more bushes and stuff here because now we can see the road a bit from the house even more. So I'm not happy that I did that. However, I do eventually want to make our driveway coming up here and going across the bottom of the yard so that, and then I can grow things so that you can't even see the house from the road then, or see the road from the house. So that's going to happen eventually, so I wish I hadn't done it, but I did, so that's one regret. So this area here is where the kind of wild corner that we had. And so after the goat's second tour of duty down here, you can see it's a lot less wild than it was. There's a lot less bush here. They've got all the weeds and stuff and little alders that were starting to grow up stripped off. Even the little spruce that were coming up. There's still some. You can see one right here. So a lot of these even they ate down. So that was great. So I don't know what it's going to look like next year. Probably much the same. I'm still not going to mow it because we can always have this front yard as a backup. You know, a few days worth of food for animals if we ever need it. You know, depending on how the pasture looks next year. So we did just some pruning on these trees the other day, and we've been feeding the goats with that. But you can see some of the marks where I trimmed, and I think it looks 100% better down this corner now. I still got to clean up some stuff, but. So the netting is super useful this year. We use it lots for the goats, we use it lots for the pigs. It's been great. The children on occasion. So it's super easy to take, like the more I do it, the easier it gets to take down and put up too, so yeah, it's been really great. Yeah. So the garden here went, you know, so-so this year. Good learning experience. The fence I put up, I decided I'm going to take that down. I'm going to leave up some parts to grow beans and stuff on, I think, but the fencing I'm going to take down, just because we could expand over there then if we wanted to, or expand down here a lot easier. And I had it up to keep the chickens out of here because the chickens wrecked my squash this year. So instead of keeping the chickens out of the garden, I'm going to make a big area over there for the chickens, and you'll see that later, I guess. But there's going to be a big section over there for the chickens, and I'm going to try to kind of do like what the Edible Acres guy does with his food scraps and all kind. I won't have as much as him, but kind of make a super composting corner over there that the chickens help. So then I'll have all this down and I'll be able to have a little more freedom with it next year and extend it down a bit probably to grow more potato and stuff next year. And our sunflowers over there, they're ready to get cut now, and we'll save those, dry them out, and give them to the chickens over the winter for entertainment.
But they're not anywhere.
So you can see the seeds in there, right?
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today.
No, we don't have it done yet. I'm gonna make a barrel system there for water next year.
Yeah, we'll do that next year. Maybe next year.
I guess we should talk about the front yard where the
Chicken farm.
yeah. Come on, Jeannie.
Come on, Jeannie Beanie.
So this is where we had the chickens there our last run. We did some over on that side and some over here, and you can see where we had them first, which is along the edge of the driveway here. The grass has come back really green. At the beginning of the year, hopefully we have it on another video, like nothing green really grew over on this side at all. When I'd mow the grass, there'd just be a strip down the middle that was really green, and then all this was just brown, and I'd be running over just very sparse grass. So the chickens have done wonders for my front yard this year, which is good, I guess. It's growing back really fast, and you can see all the squares where they were this last run around. So we went over it twice this year in the same area, and it doesn't seem to have damaged the grass or anything. Seems like it worked out really good. And I kind of took a different pattern this time, so we didn't exactly follow our path from last time. And when the manure load was heaviest, towards the end, I made sure that we weren't running over the same spot again too. Also, new additions are the oak tree. We got a white oak planted halfway down, and we got the Japanese walnut, also known as the heart nut, planted up here a little bit further. And next year, hopefully we'll have some fruit trees planted in between those. And they did really awesome this year. Both of those doubled in size. I only bought them at the beginning of August, but they really shot up in just about a month and a half of growing that they did. So that's very hopeful. The oak still looks like it's growing, so that's been really good. So this is the really crabby crabapple tree, and not a bad size for a crabapple. However, they're sweet for about a second, then they turn right bitter. Really good for about a second, and then they're kind of hard to eat. Very tart, but not bad. Jeannie actually will plow through a couple. She doesn't mind them, but it's perfect because we recently ran out of apples on our other tree. So this one's still really full. So we're gonna have a whole nother couple weeks of pig treats to come through. And I've heard that crab apples really put a good taste on the meat, so that could be made up, I don't know. You want a baby? Over here is where the greenhouse is gonna be. This is the part I said we're gonna turn into a chicken composting system over here. I'm going to eventually have this area fenced off, and I'm going to use the fencing from over there for that. And just to keep the chickens in here, we can still let them out whenever we want to, but I want them focused in here and making compost all the time for us. So that's next year's job. But this is going to be a greenhouse. There was a whole bunch of alder and stuff back here that I cleared out, some of it. And we were thinking about making this area kind of into an outdoor living space or whatever. But the pond is not really great for that. It's got lots of frogs and stuff in it, which is cool, but it dries right out in the summer, so not a good steady available water source for an outdoor place. So we decided to pass on that and use this nice flat area for the greenhouse instead. Right on 140 now. So, ow! Look how sharp that is. So the compost is going lovely. We've put in immense amounts of material into this year, and we still can never get it to be really overflowing, which is great. That means it's breaking down a lot. I put this in, when was it? Saturday. I started this pile on Saturday. I flipped it from the other side, and we put in the chicken guts and everything. And it was at around 65, 70 degrees at that point, that day when I put it in, and now it's up to 140. So that's in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days. And it's gone up to 140, which is awesome. So I'm expecting it's going to get real hot, probably up 150 or 160, which might be the hottest we've had. I think we've had 150 before, but yeah, that's going super, so we're just going to keep that trucking. The coop is still standing, still not looking pretty, but she's solid, holds up well. Everything held up well. The food underneath and some water underneath, so if it's raining, the chickens don't want to get too wet, they can hang out underneath, which they do often do. It's a little small now because we got the 15 birds, but they'll be out in the greenhouse, I'm hoping, if I put my mind to it, maybe by Sunday.
Mommy, what are you doing? And compost and chickens.
And with chickens.
Then you pet them.
So the fire pit, the wood storage area I want to work on a little bit soon. It's looking messy. And I didn't have enough pallets to make a good solid structure here, so you can see it's bowing out and stuff, but I'll get to this eventually. Basically what we got is a bunch of hardwood in here that's supposed to be getting nice and dry for campfires and stuff. A lot of softwood I just stacked up here. Eventually I'm going to build a woodshed and split it and stuff like that. In the back there you can see I basically just pile stuff up back here, which is not great. But I got my chipping piles. With any trees I come across that I'm going to chip, I'll put in that pile. Any hardwood branches I'm pruning or from trees I cut down, I'll put in this pile back here until I get a chance to saw it up.
This smells so brilliant.
It smells so brilliant. This box I got from the metal roofing, I'm going to fill up with big chunks of hardwood, and then I'm going to put a piece of sheet metal over the top for the winter just to keep it dry. So that should dry out nicely over the winter, hopefully. But it's just a mess. I got to come up with a better system. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build I'm going to hopefully start soon practicing my chainsaw freehand milling techniques, and I'm just going to build a little shed over here. I think. Practice shed. See how that goes. The fencing I'm pretty happy with. It all worked out super great. I used the timeless fence posts for the electric fence and just high tensile wire. I made H braces on the corners, wherever the corners I didn't have a tree to use. And it's been working like a charm. I mean, only escape has been one goat that got out, and that was just because of where I put the insulators. So over winter there's a couple of little problems that I need to fix with it. That being one, I'm going to move all the insulators in way closer to the posts. And there's one place where I tried to use a tree as a post, and I screwed in the timeless fence post, but I did it on the inside of the corner, and so at the bottom, it's below where the pigs are. No animals are down there anyway. So at the bottom there is a little bit of an issue with the timeless fence post that I cut off the bottom and screwed it right on. So that's pulling out a bit. So what I'm going to do after all the animals are gone is I'm going to cut the wires there and wrap it around the back instead with hose as an insulator. But using the trees on the corners, as long as I went around the outside, has worked out really good. Jenny's brother and I made this little shed. It's a little harder to skid than I hoped. It worked out great just as a shelter for the goats to get out of the rain. It'll work for the sheep next year too. I just need to shore it up a little bit, make it a little more sturdy, and then hopefully have an ATV or something to drag it with a bit better. So I think it's going to be great for next year. I put it this close to the fence for a reason. I know it doesn't look the best, but when I'm coming in, all the goats... Okay, wait, baby. When I'm coming in, all the goats usually hang out here, so when I push the door open, I can come in and cut them right off. And then if the kids who are usually with me, they got lots of time to get in without the goats crowding them. And then I can close it again, and it's just a little way to make sure the goats don't get out. So here's our going to be pasture. The grass is growing in pretty good, really good in places, okay in some other places. I think a lot of it depends on how well I thinned out the trees. But so far I'm happy. Hopefully it'll get growing nice and early for me next year, and we'll have some sheep grazing on this next year. And while they're grazing, I'll be back in the woods clearing out another section. That's the plan right now. So yeah, it's been growing great. I mean, it's really thick here. I think it's pretty good. We left lots of woody debris and stuff on the ground. That'll rot, that's fine. We left our rot pockets here, which I'm hoping is going to be a real good snake habitat. And the snakes will stop the squirrels and chipmunks, or at least reduce the numbers, and mice and stuff like that around. We've seen a few snakes around, so I think it's a good sign. Down in the back where I chopped down those things, that stuff is going to get cleaned up this fall once the animals are gone. In that little time window I have, about a month and a half in between the animals being gone and 3 feet of snow being on the ground, I'm going to go all around the fence where I knocked down a lot of trees that I just left there.
It's okay, buddy.
And tidy all that up and make it look nice and use the wood. So this is the what I hope is going to be a Silvopasture. So we've been thinning out a lot. If you watched our videos, obviously you know that. But really wide open in here now. So if you look around, there's so many stumps that are cut off that, you know, you wouldn't walk through here comfortably. You'd have to be pushing your way through boughs and stuff. So it's really nice out here now. It's open and breezy, and I'm hoping it's going to attract birds and stuff like that, and be a little less inviting for the squirrels maybe. But yeah, it's been looking good. The pigs have been doing all the work for me of tilling and stuff, and I've been seeding behind them, and I think this part has been a success. Down there, I'll move over this way a little. Pig supper time just about, so they're probably going to be noisy, but down here is where the pigs are now, all in this wooded section. So this section is going to be kind of a test of doing reverse order. So all along I've been clearing it out and then putting the pigs in. For this section, because I reckon it's too late to be putting in seeds. Don't trip, you get a log behind you. Because it's too late to put in seeds over here now. I'm going to let the pigs go in first, and they've got a huge area now, probably close to 3/4 of an acre to just free range. And so the pigs are going to go in first, and then I'm going to come in and thin it out after they're gone to the freezer. So this is the pigs area now. They're coming over to put tins down. Don't show fear, they can smell fear. It's like gravy for them.
Oh my gosh.
They're fine. We don't got it in on us, so they're not going to push it. So this is the pigs' current area. Quite heavily wooded here. As you move down, it gets thinner as you go. And there's some nice sized wood down there. Also car. But, so on next year's video, hopefully I'll be standing here and saying, look how nice and wide open everything is. And actually, you can see pretty far right here. There's not going to be too much that I had to cut out here, but there are patches like this that are super thick. And not a lot of like good looking hardwood. It's all pretty scraggly, but the hardwood in this part of the property is sparse enough that I'm hardly going to cut out any hardwood, even if it doesn't look like it will ever be commercially viable. But back up in the back parts of the property, there's a lot more hardwood on the go. This pig freaks out when you touch him. Oh,
there you go.
first time ever he didn't freak. Oh, he's so warm. His hair's right thick now.
Alright, is that it?
I guess so. Is there anything else I missed?
I think that was it. That was good. Right, all together, we have got the pigs in the back. Down there is the front yard. That's where the goats are right now. That is our garden. Over there is our chicken coop. Behind the shed is the greenhouse. And over here is where we're growing the pasture in an L shape all around the property. That's the 10-second tour. Dominic has the food. Can you hear the pigs going wild back there? You can tell that it's supper time. Okay, so earlier in the video we showed you the goats and they were down in that wild patch, but they don't stay there all the time. We just move them down there if they want to get some of the foliage and plants that are down there. But they will. We have them trained to go back up to their place. So observe. All right, goats, ready? Hey. All right, ready, steady, go. And the goats are moved. Amazing.
Mom, I watched some TV.
You're doing what?
I watched some TV.
What's on?
Peppa Pig.
Is it Peppa Pig? What's she saying? That's right. Peppa Pig.
I said that on Daddy's spot.
Are you in Daddy's spot?
Yeah.
Oh, is it bigger?
Yeah.
Shall we go in and see Martin? Come on, baby. Let's go.